My experience though, LaFell, it does seem like, for babaks onto the Ruby, I would say, on paper it wouldn't make sense that it's going to be a non-lane, right? For the Claude, just utilize the rage, go for the farm, use the battle mirror image whenever babaks walks up. But the Ruby is very, it's so deceiving. Think she's a melee hero that can't really poke you down, but the range of that passive is quite massive, and you will be able to bully your opponent usually. So as long as IHC are able to funnel some resources into the bottom lane, not really, gold or XP, but mainly just some pressure relieved off of that lane would be really good. But Ethan, starting the top, forced to flicker early on, not even the first minute, and now he will pop that power of nature to escape.
I would say that's big. It's a good thing that he uses Flicker there because it's still under 2 minutes, so extra damage in the jungle. Forbid taking quite a lot of damage, and Zoran is in the middle of things.
The Terrify onto 2 members. Zoran still able to flicker around. Chibi looking for the kill now, maybe even looking for the invade as Forbid rotates back in towards the jungle to relieve some of the pressure away from Ling. But in the bottom lane, Nets is doing a very good job at just suppressing this force of the Ruby in the gold lane.
One small thing that's a little bit unfortunate, I think Chibi was absorbing one minion coming in from the mid, so perhaps Udil is going to take a little bit more time before he gets his level 4. But again, it's a small thing, probably wouldn't...
Force of the Ruby in the gold lane.
One small thing that's a little bit unfortunate, I think Chibi was absorbing one minion. Udil is going to take a little bit more time before he gets his level 4. But again, it's a small thing, probably wouldn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Zorn finds Xora. Xora is already level 4. Zorn is already taking quite a bit of damage.
He doesn't have the flicker. That is a very important thing to note down, as the turtle will spawn in 13 seconds, but it's going to be the Warcry, by the way, for the Roger. And for Xora, it's the QC, not the Warcry we're used to. Zorn walking up, getting knocked up. Ethan doesn't have the flicker now. That's going to be Xora jumping in, but Chibi does a whole lot of damage. Already took the purple buff earlier. Xora will be able to walk back. Both teams not setting up for the turtle.
I feel like Chibi has the right idea here. You got to make sure that IHC eSports is always below 50% health, though, but Zoran taking a lot of damage. Looks like he's going to get taken down. No, he still survives.
And the Eternal Guard actually turns it around. That's the penalty zone, but it will not be able to save Forbid.
I was going to say, Homeboys, their idea is to make sure that everyone coming in from IHC eSports have very low HP before contesting anything, to make it actually going in with the light compounds being very, very high. Sorry, he still wants it. Supply gets it.
Mid-air, he catches him with the onward, and Xora is going to be bursted down by Udil. Now the turtle taking Chibi, walking up into the enemy jungle, invading already, trying to take as much as he can to punish Xora.
Looks like with this draft, Homeboys is able to pick up the tempo. IHC eSports, having a jungler, a Ling as the jungle, you want to make sure that you're able to farm up as safely as you can. Looks like he's having a little bit of trouble, but even so, in terms of the gold, it's only 500 gold difference, and it does look like Xora is going for a Berserker Fury first item, so he's not going to be that far behind.
Walking up again, Forbid getting knocked up. Ethan used the power of nature earlier. babaks has rotated, but in the early game, I can't help but say, for babaks at least, he's kind of failed to utilize that pressure. Udil, on a barrier, not able to really go for anything. babaks with I'm offended onto 2 members right in the middle. Fury the wall charge with the feather airstrike gets comboed together. Xora would have the blaze jumping into this fight, but Suppot will also rotate much quicker. And now see the babaks caught all alone, running away. That's gutting him down slowly but surely with one last battle mirror image to the front to take him down.
I don't know whether that is worth it or not for IHC eSports. That was a good engagement. Make sure you're doing something and not nothing. But the fact that you gave Nats an assist as well as a kill makes it so that he gets his Trinity item faster than babaks. Talk about timing.
Yeah, maybe you don't try to predict things,
yeah,
but you taught me this at M3, man.
True. Maybe I should stop talking.
Good barrier. You want to try to slow the pace of the game down, because Homeboys at this point with, hey, actually, if we take a look at the gold lead, it's not that big. The Terrify with the Eternal Guard. Udil being able to chunk Ethan, but as Power of Nature walks up now as Xora does some damage. Suppot not going for the onward just yet. Boston Primal round is actually a wall charge into the back line. That's a steal from Xora. As Suppot deals with the Charisma, Ethan in the back, and to be ran down by Chibi as Xora gets terrified mid-air again, knocked up and taken down by the hammer of Zord. Now walking up with a 2-man knockup, team 4, IHC. They'll still be able to get a trade off of that, but it's 3 for 1.
Yeah, but again, we talked about this, how both teams,
because nobody was seen on the map. Now an onward actually going to go in. Eternal Guard as well. The Forbid is able to escape, but gets caught in Earth Shatter. As now Suppot gets caught in the Udil, dies in the back somehow. A blazing away from Nets, as now it's going to be Minus Fury to knock them off. Aizen with a desperate penalty zone, and Ethan will be able to walk away. They'll sacrifice Aizen and Forbid, and it will only give Homeboys a bigger lead here. In the 6th minute of the game, Nets Battle Mirror Image to the front, trying to go for a bit more damage to pressure Ethan. But as you said, right now it's not that big of a... One level lead for the Raj already. Sapat goes to the armor. Now Earth Shatter, knocking Zexora up, goes for the Primal Wrath defensively here to escape from some of that damage, and Forbid has already used up the Feather Airstrike.
Yeah, but the thing is, right now for IHC, they stole the previous one. Looks like it's not going to be stolen this time. IHC, I feel like they understand they got to slow down a bit. They got to get Zexora onto 2 items. And Homeboys, I feel like they got to pick up the pace a little bit, because if you give room for the Ling to farm up, it might be one of those things that you regret in the long run.
This time, though, they've been able to pick up a turret on a neutral objective. Ethan,
his second kills, his 4 kills away from getting the maximum amount of stacks. I believe his 2 stacks away from getting 10%. 10% lethality, and at 10% is going to be a big game changer. Homeboys, they're going to be able to get this Lord uncontested. IHC Esports doesn't have a way to enter the Lord pit, but in the meantime, Zexora understands he needs the farm, so he goes to the side lanes.
Yeah, and he tries to go for a turret there. He does get a trade, but a Lord in the 10th minute of the game, for this kind of composition, usually you would say, you know, for the first Lord, it's not really deadly, but if you take a look at IHC, they're lacking the marksman. You know, they don't have that marksman. They have the Feather Airstrike. I'm not sure if that can actually save them here.
I believe it's deadly, because we got to talk about the Lord having 30% more HP now, and you got lethality on this Roger. So any kind of engage, there's a chance for a wipeout.
And your wave clear is also questionable for IHC, right? Like I mentioned, only Forbid can really go for it, but he has to choose whether he wants to use the Feather Airstrike to some of these members or to the Lord. And I think both are the wrong answer at this point.
Yeah, but personally for me, I would say try to go for the members, because, again, 10-minute Lord you can still handle, but the amount of damage coming in from Homeboys is a little bit too much. You got to be very, very careful. Sapat not able to hit his onward.
Ethan taking a whole lot of damage. Zorn looking forward, gets a knock on babak in the front of it all, trying to go for the GV, but it's going to be the frontliners completely melted down, and Sapat walks up with the flicker as well, like compounds from Chibi together with the electrifying damage. Now it's going to be a desperate Tempest ablaze. The Lord might as well just be called the Deadly Lord, because in the 11th minute, they've been able to stomp through IHC.
And just like that, Homeboys was able to win the first match of the Group B stage with a lot of damage coming in from the